Namaste, Jai Bharat. We often see China through visuals and images of huge, amazing constructions in their country. So, oftentimes people equate the development through structures constructed in state. We also do that. Great bridges, flyovers, multi-storied building structures, amazing, impossible kinds of bridges, etc. And we often consider these as engineering marvels, great construction. And China, through this, makes a very fantastic impression of their development and growth and stability. But then, to what extent this is realistic is a question one should ask, especially when you find some inconsistencies in the presentation which China themselves present and reality. The transparency is extremely less in Chinese situations. We don't really know how things happen. Recently, one of their claimed engineering marvel, a huge bridge, collapsed after months of construction, which may have some reasons, should have some reasons, which actually goes against the kind of impressions people like us carry about China, their development, their structure, and etc. People consider China as a strong country and economic development. But they have a lot of advantages because they are a kind of one party rule. The party is really not party. It's a kind of dictatorship, even in theoretically, in communism. And China, I don't consider them as really communism, given the book, given the story or text or theories of communism, and which of course is not to be criticized to that extent, because if you treat Marxian theories as an archetype, then it is possible for one to reinvent the Marxian theory given space and time. So possibly people have their own varieties of communism variation. Granting that, when you look at it, I still don't find China, the Chinese communism, very close to the kind of communism which I understood. Nonetheless, even given theory, communism, not really communism, socialism, so after socialism only one is supposed to transcend from socialism to communism. These are two different economic situations. But socialism itself is proclaimed or called as dictatorship of proletariat. So the dictatorship aspect is there right from the book. And the China is, of course, obviously a dictatorship, and I don't think they can claim that they have transcended into or they have gone into communism. They're still in socialistic economic situation of life, not communism, because communism has a different connotation, different connotations. So this Chinese bridge, yeah, we were talking about Chinese bridge. The construction, the structures. When you look and find, you can find that China had been copying. They're copying many things. They also do this thing called as reverse engineering, which also needs a kind of skill, though not desirable. It's better always that you make your own, which has a lot of other leverage advantages. China was copying the models from the American model of huge structures construction, and maybe also to a large extent borrow such concepts. But here I would like to ask one to make a paradigm shift in our thought structure. Look at the constructions in Bharat. Bharat has a very, very ancient, huge structures, by way of our temples mostly. And these things, there's a difference between the construction in Bharat, the serious temple construction in Bharat. They're huge, given that time at least, and very rich in carvings and expression and very systematic. We don't really understand the kind of system they must have followed, the technology that they must have followed. We don't completely understand those things, but they have erected such structures which are undoubtedly amazing structures, but they stood the test of time. You have to say that. They stood the test of time through thousands of years, and they also stood many changes in nature, challenges of nature, all those things, without getting undisturbed. It's difficult for you to find an instance of an ancient Bharatiya structure getting destroyed in some kind of natural event or calamity. Of course, the instance of Dwaraka going down in sea is not because of the construction of the Dwaraka city. It has simply gone down into sea for legends of our own, apart from the reasons, geological, whatever reasons of its own. But even underwater, for some, we don't know how long it was happening. People speculate that Dwaraka is so many tens of thousands of years old. Only speculation, we really don't know. You have the option of carbon dating, which gives out some results, but again, those results are not really conclusive. We have those things in front of us, but they're still intact. So there's a way of constructing, and which the ancient people of Bharat followed. It's advisable for when we go into so-called development and so-called expression of developments through structures like flyovers, underground tunnels, etc., to also look for the way ancient Bharatiyas have constructed things, great constructions which are very sustainable, which continue to exist. That method of, we don't know, engineering, we are not very well aware, but then one thing we can study, only one point we can study, other things are far-flung and too serious, the comparison between modern technology and ancient Bharatiya knowledge system. But one thing is that you can always find that the ancient structures of Bharat had this phenomenal quality of coexisting with nature. Upanishad mantra, Deha Shanti, Vanaspade Shanti, Apa Shanti, Aushade Shanti, all those things are there. That is taken care of, obviously. That's taken care of. So it's a kind of coexistence with the nature, that you belong to nature. So if you construct, can coexist with nature in whichever intricate pattern that you can understand, or it's possible for one to understand, then that structure which we created shall continue to exist without getting destroyed. Where there's a contradiction between the logic of nature and the logic of the human construct, the contradiction is possible. Contradiction is bound to happen either now or later. In some cases it happens fast, in some cases it happens very late, but it happens. And this is because our understanding of nature is not complete. It can't be complete, obviously. Or our making things with the nature is not in step with the nature's logic. That the structural people, those constructors, those who want to have rapid changes, revolutionary patterns, if they note it, it shall be better for everyone. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.